We are here with a real life madam. And can you tell us what a madam is?
Well, wait, we got to take a shot together first before we get started.
Yeah. Sorry,
He just gets too excited.
I get too excited.
Cheers. Delicious.
And I didn't spill it on myself.
Proud of you.
Oh.
Damn. I'm like literally out of breath from just running downstairs. That's pretty bad. So we're here with, are we just calling you straight madam?
Madam.
Madam? Okay.
What? Sure.
So we've done a number of headlines about such places getting busted. I am seriously curious about it. So John, for reals, have you ever been to such an establishment?
I have not.
Okay.
I've never had the opportunity.
So
but you've been
would.
to a strip club, right?
Yeah, I've been to plenty of strip clubs.
because I helped run 2 of those in conjunction with.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but
Okay.
I've been to, the only thing a brothel I would have been close to would be when we were in Bulgaria, and literally their strip clubs are just brothels too, pretty much. But I didn't do anything because I was 15.
That would have been more of the reason to.
I know.
Can I start?
Yeah, go ahead. Sure.
Okay. So I think I want to know from the beginning, how did you stumble into this type of line of work? Like, were you interested in pursuing it because you thought it was going to be super lucrative, or how did you fall into this?
So my mother was a very mean woman. And 2 days after my 18th birthday, I told her that her boyfriend, who was homeless and had filled out an application to move into the house with us, had used fake information and a fake social security number.
Ooh, what a winner.
So the managers told me, tell your mom he's not allowed here. So when I did, she lost her shit. I was in a new state. I had very little money, barely 18, went to the first place that would take cash for me to live. And I ended up finding out from someone else who lived there, hey, I might have an opportunity. And it just kind of
stumbled from there.
When they said what it was you'd be doing, what was your reaction?
Oh, see, I was one of the few, and I think this is why I ended up getting promoted so quickly. I was one of the few that I refused to basically have sex with John. Like, I wouldn't do it. No thanks. I was willing to dance. I was willing to be a stripper, but that was too far. So I worked behind the bar, which was only a juice bar because you can't sell alcohol, but you can bring your own in.
Oh, interesting.
And the owner of all these businesses owned, literally in between the 2 strip clubs, he owned a cigarette and liquor shop. So you could literally go next door, buy your liquor, and bring it in with you.
One stop strip mall, literally.
Yeah.
Wow. So
This was an illegal or an illegal operation?
Well, strip clubs are illegal, but unless you're in Nevada, right?
Yeah. And there was no nudity at all unless you agreed to not sell liquor. So that was kind of his way around it.
Yeah, but he owned the gas station where you would buy it.
But it's BYOB, so they can bring it in from the outside,
you
and
had
that's
to walk
fine.
out the front door, go into the next door at the liquor store, buy your shit, and then
bring
walk
it back
in.
I mean, for the person who owns it, makes a heck of a lot of sense.
How long have you done this? So you got promoted quick. So you were...
Oh yeah, within months.
So it's not something. So most women that you work with are kind of doing the same, like they're content doing the same thing of stripping, or
pretty much.
Or not.
After a few months, I was advised to not hire anybody like me because they needed more girls for out calls. They needed more girls to do illegal things in the back room.
So this is, I'm assuming, I've never been to a strip club actually. So is this a more of a, like, this is really what every strip club is like, I'm assuming?
No, this is such a dive bar, like little itty bitty hole in the wall place. And to point out, I'm not sure how to say it. I came across y'all's podcast where you talked about all the corruption in Saline County. County.
Mm-hmm.
The place I'm referring to borders Saline County.
Okay. So there's just a lot of stuff going on.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting. So nobody gives an F here, and this is not what you would find in other like strip clubs across the country necessarily. Some, I'm sure, but this isn't the norm.
Right. Yeah.
What is the okay? So how did you rise through the ranks of management?
The ranks. So you just walked in there and was like, I'm not doing.
Hell no.
Well, I didn't know. I walked in completely naive, to be honest. I was told it was a massage parlor, but I didn't have to be licensed. I was not told.
I guess you were 18.
More. I was. And like Nicole, I grew up in a very straight edge Catholic home. Like dad would only have one beer once a month when he played poker.
Well, that was not my dad, but that's okay. My dad was the opposite alcoholic, but that's fine. It was more of the hypocritical sense, you know?
Yeah. But I was a very good girl. And because I wouldn't give it up freely, the old fucker who, can I say that?
Yeah. Okay. Have you heard us?
The old
fucker who owned he owned a stripper store that had DVDs and outfits. And he also owned 2 strip clubs. He owned a home furnishings business like a block away. He owned the spa, the liquor store.
Jesus.
He owned all of this.
Wow.
All within like a block and a half.
So you going back to like your upbringing of Catholic, you know, so you kind of learned about the birds and the bees from this establishment a little bit?
For the darker side of it, yeah. I mean, I wasn't nearly as goody Catholic, but I was very naive.
You ran a strip club, 2 strip clubs, and a brothel, which are different things. The brothels, did you see like politicians coming in there?
We saw politicians, the local police force. They were literally the wildest parties ever. Bachelorette parties, business parties, holiday parties, all of the above. And the most money always came from them, too. The politicians usually would get more outcalls as opposed to showing up at the actual business.
Yeah, that makes sense. They don't want to be seen there publicly.
Right. They were just as, they were just as dirty, if not dirtier, than every other John that came in, though.
Oh, really? Because they're all powerful or think they're powerful?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So when John walks in there, like this, have you seen the Bunny Ranch? So one of the most famous brothels is called the Bunny Ranch, and I think it's a show
in Vegas.
Yeah, it's in Vegas. They talked about it on
Cat House.
Yeah. So they were. You remember Reno 911?
Yes.
That they were at the Bunny Ranch, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So literally, they would come in the door and they were boxed in, and I would meet them at the window, and I had to check ID. Like that was, I didn't care what your name was, but you had to be 18.
Okay.
But you're already doing something illegal. So why it's, But
you don't know what's going on behind the doors, though.
Yeah, I think if you end up finding a minor is involved, it gets that much worse.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. And I don't have to. I would push a buzzer to open the door, so they couldn't just walk in regardless.
So you were kind of like the bouncer of you were like, son.
So you walk in there and there's like a bunch of naked women standing there, and then you choose one.
They would come and stand in a hallway, and I would knock on the door, and the girls would come out one by one, and I'd be like, "Hey, this is Candy," and she'd, "Ooh, nice to meet you."
I love that.
And then go back in. They'd have the next girl come out.
John says, "Oh, I love that." He says,
"How much is Andy or
Candy?"
Candy.
It depends. If they wanted a topless haircut, it was only $25.
A topless haircut?
Yeah.
Wow.
That was one of the services. And like the girls, of course, would accept a tip. And it was always a really shitty haircut. But you could do that. Or it was like $200 an hour or $100 for
$200 an hour?
Yep.
And that was how.
And I got 10% off every single tip, every amount that came through. That's how I got paid.
So why did you get out of this?
Honestly, I wish I had saved some of that money. Holy shit, I would be rolling.
Wow.
10% of every man. So
did you ever have people like trying to hide their tips or anything from you?
Oh yeah, a couple of times. And I'd find it and immediate, get out.
You
get
would
the fuck out.
You would
like you're
whip out
stealing
your
from me.
cane.
No, but I had a baseball bat.
Oh, I love it.
And
was
honestly,
it metal or wood?
Wood.
There you go. Of course.
Most of the girls were supplied drugs, and that came through the local police.
What?
Whoa!
The pills, the meth was huge
From
in that area.
The evidence locker, most likely, right?
Probably, yeah. They did a lot of meth bust in that area, like a lot. So you were talking about drugs and Bill Clinton and whatnot.
Yeah.
You were not exaggerating. You were under-exaggerating.
Oh, she's talking about our Bill Clinton episode.
That's one of my favorite episodes of all time.
Oh, so you are a listener.
That's
or
the one that
snooper.
made me reach out. Yeah.
Oh.
Damn.
So have you ever been there when a bust, did they ever come in there? And what was that like?
A few times, but.
Did they do it just because, like, to keep up with appearances? I was going to say, like, if they were frequent
we always knew
people.
Before,
because,
within like an hour or two before the bust.
So they would never find anything?
No.
But you would know because the cops or one of the cops would tip you off, right? I mean, how else would you know?
Yeah, they would tip off the guy who owned the businesses, and he would in turn be like, hey, I need you to roll out paperwork, which was easy. It was literally all the John had to do was sign his name saying that this was not entrapment. He wasn't going to record anything. And then he could, do his thing.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Wow.
So like literally everyone but the chief of police knew about this. And he's probably like, why are we not busting these people?
He probably did too. I mean,
Jesus.
All the cop parties we had.
When was this, if you don't mind me asking?
This was around 2005 to like 2008.
Interesting. So, because I'm thinking that it's before the recession too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm wondering
they
how
were
that.
Still like,
yeah, everyone's with their rental properties, right?
All of the businesses are still open. He owned the building. He didn't pay rent for them. He owned them.
But I'm thinking even too from a customer base, if people weren't hit hard and they were
still working there and they are still flush, like constant flush.
Wow.
That was on that movie, right?
Big Short?
Yeah. If you know when a recession's coming, the first place you know when a recession coming is in the strip club.
Right?
There's also the lipstick indicator. That's a legitimate economic index. When
they could pay with their credit card.
How in the world?
The only way to track any Johns was we had a credit card reader. So
what was the charge as?
Oh God.
Yeah, for real. Because
it was something I can't remember the exact name, but it was
like
something
what type of
real
business?
Vague and LLC, like real. Like I think it was the guy's name followed by Industries LLC. So even if the wife or the girlfriend or whatever saw the charge later, she wouldn't see it. Strip club.
Yeah.
Right.
Have you ever had a situation where wife or girlfriend comes in there?
Yep. Oh, yeah. But keep in mind, I did not have to open that door. And it never happened that they showed up at the same time. They would come later and be like, I suspect my guy was here. And we're like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't have any paperwork. Sorry.
Jeez.
Did you get any female customers, or were they
very rare? And they were more out call type of setup as opposed to in-house.
Interesting. Interesting. So was the massage parlor set up as a like completely different business where you like it looked like it was a normal massage, typical place?
It is the most plain old time looking like 2-story brick building you've ever seen in your life. Think of like Old Town,
like Middle America, USA type thing.
Yeah. Yep.
On Main Street.
Yep. And it just had the word spa above the door.
Spa.
Yep.
Spa. When you walked inside, did it make any sort of real attempt to look like a spa inside, or not really?
There was a fancy plant in the waiting room.
Oh my God.
I mean, there was a room with a hot tub. There was a room with a pool and a sex swing and chains and whatnot on the walls. And the guys got to pick which room they wanted. And there were two like laying rooms with just a massage bed and, a couple of paintings on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not fancy at all.
Could a guy get like 2 or 3 of the girls?
Yeah, but he has to pay the same amount for each girl. So if he gets 3, it's $200 per for an hour.
Have you ever had to confront someone that was aggressive to the girls?
Yeah, but there usually wasn't a whole lot of problems. I got jumped in the parking lot once.
Oh, what?
Yeah, from behind. The girl thought that I had like stolen her tips or that I'd slept with her boyfriend or something in the hot tub room. And she came up behind me and like nailed me down and beat me up until the cameras that we had outside, the boss's son came out and pulled her off.
Wow.
Jesus. So how much were you making like a week doing this?
Okay, one Saturday alone, I brought home $1,000 and plopped it down in one day. And I said, here, babe, you wanted that car? Go get it.
Damn.
Like, I did not leave with less than a couple of $100 per night minimum.
Wow.
And that
Jesus
was real
Christ.
slow nights.
Wow. So what made you decide to leave? Assuming you left.
Oh, yeah, I left
Okay.
a long time ago. I really didn't want to be in that type of industry. And I'd only done it because I needed to. Between that and the amount of corruption, it was mind-blowing. Like, I am pretty sure he laundered a lot of money through the stripper store because there were never any customers. Like, I sold one pair of stripper boots a week, so
Wow.
like how much money can really be coming through there to keep it open?
Were you afraid of this gentleman who was the owner?
I don't know that I'd say afraid, but when you think of dirty old man, he was absolutely the epitome.
Ew.
And he would always try to get me.
I'm like trying to picture
He had the biggest
someone,
beer belly.
Oh boy.
Like, huge. There is no way that man has not had a heart attack and died by now.
Oh,
but
yeah.
he slept with like all the other girls.
How? He probably never got to see his ding dong under all that,
Right?
that belly.
From what I hear, it was.
Did he drive a big truck with his micro penis?
Oh, he didn't have to drive. He had a fucking Segway that he would take because
No way.
he had an apartment built in between all of these businesses.
Jesus.
So he literally just traveled back and forth on that.
Oh no. Oh my God.
Jesus Christ.
That is crazy.
He also owned a hotel about half a mile up the road, which is the one that I ended up at. And pretty much all the girls ended up there.
What do you mean ended up there?
Was that where outcalls would go?
No.
Oh, where you lived?
All over town. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It was like reduced rent, like $75 a week.
Wow.
Like really shitty hotel. But, when you have no money.
Place to stay.
Yeah. And it was only like a block away from the police station.
Wow.
But they knew who worked there and we just never got popped. Like, I routinely sold weed to one cop.
Are you kidding me?
Jesus.
Wow.
First time he pulled me over, he made me dump it out. The second time he pulled me over, he's like, look, I know you have it. I'm looking to get some.
Nice.
And he knew my route home, so he would routinely buy it from me.
That is crazy.
Now, girls got popped in town all the time, but they didn't work for us.
What do you mean?
And if they did, if there were other like prostitutes, hookers, sex workers in town, the police would pick them up. If one of our girls got picked up, they might get taken to the police station, but the owner guy would get a phone call from the police to come and pick them up. And he would literally pick them up and bring them back to work.
What?
Yeah.
So
They wouldn't
the
get booked,
girls
they wouldn't get charges.
were very well known, or who was a part of this particular establishment.
Yep. And there was a lot of drugs that went through there because of that,
Were the girls like always high? Because
there
like
were a lot of them. Yeah.
because of what they did, they had to stay high all the time.
Or, like I said, they got, maybe I didn't say it yet, but they Anybody who worked for this guy got a hefty discount on liquor at his liquor store. So they were either really drunk, or if they ran out of pills or meth or coke, they could just let him know and he would bring it on in.
Wow.
Like, how do you apply for this job? Like, if I wanted to be a girl, how would I apply?
You walk in.
You walk in?
Walk in.
Is there like a hula hoop?
Yeah, right. No, I would often, it depends on what they were applying for. They had to be at least decent looking if they were applying for the massage parlor. And they had to at least be able to dance on the pole somewhat if I was hiring them to be a stripper. That was it. They had to be over 18 and that was it.
And all of them had to be willing, except for you. You were very clear you weren't. They all had to be willing to sleep with someone.
They didn't have to.
So how do you broach that subject in an interview? You know, like what would you say?
I pretty much bring up, are you willing to do an intimate manly massage? And I'd explain it if I had to. Most of them that applied were willing to do more for more tips. And that's what it was. The $200 in-house was the massage only. Anything else you got, I didn't ask. You just give me payment and do your thing.
And that was illegal, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
unless you're in Nevada, yeah.
Well, all right, not that I'm saying I need tips, but
you're good.
If I was to go to your establishment and spend $200 for a massage, which is probably not very great because I doubt they're licensed. Like, how would
it's a manly massage, and
I would say, can you give me any more or something?
So I would always tell them, you don't tell me what else you want. You go in the room with the girl. You tell her if she agrees. You give her the payment. She brings it to me. She goes in. You do your thing. You don't got to tell me what it's for, what you're doing.
What if she doesn't agree? Because $200 for a massage is.
They have picked a different girl before, and we would charge them like $20, which we would give straight to the girl that they chose initially. But usually that wasn't a big deal.
Okay.
Was it in those cases? Was it because they were asking for something like kind of crazy?
No, I mean, not every girl did what's called full service.
Full service.
Yeah. So if they went in the room and then didn't like what they were getting, or it wasn't enough, or the girl wanted too much more than they were willing to pay, they could pick someone else. And chances were, if you got one that wouldn't, the next one would.
Interesting.
How many girls were there, do you think?
I usually only ever had 4 or 5 in-house on any one shift. That was usually plenty choice-wise. And we only had like 4 open rooms. So
was it a steady stream of customers? Like, was this all during the day and
it was
evening?
open from 11 a.m. to like 5 a.m.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez.
It was usually pretty constant.
That's pretty crazy when you really think about it. From a business, just pure business, that's steady. That is seriously steady.
Steady enough to be open that long.
Yeah.
Yeah. There were 2 separate shifts. It was like 11 to 7 and like 7 to 5. But even cigarettes were $1 a pack for Iraqi Marlboros.
Iraqi Marlboros?
Yeah. You could not read on it what it was. And the owner had them shipped from Iraq. So he got them
What the
at
fuck?
like an Uber discount.
That's weird.
So, I mean, you have drugs, you have liquor. Someone would go out and get food once a night, fast food or whatever. There was no DoorDash yet.
Yeah. Wow.
What's one of the scariest moments you can remember in there? Like,
we had some people come through and they were never caught, but they came in and bashed all the windows while we were all in there. All the windows on the outside. They were throwing rocks and shit through. And I didn't know it at the time, but they were also shooting through the window.
Jesus.
And we didn't find that out until I was sitting in the office right there by the big bay window too. We found bullet holes in the wall later on.
Oh my.
What do you think they were? Why do you think they did that?
Probably some jealous boyfriend or some dipshit who didn't get enough of what he wanted.
Wow.
Did you ever feel guilty, kind of, not trying to pull the moral string, but, husband comes in there because wifey's not given enough. And you knew that too, because they were wearing, probably, you could at least see the ring imprint, maybe.
Yeah, I really kind of didn't pay much attention. And not to talk shit, but this was one of the most hillbilly-esque areas in the entire state. Ooh. Yeah. Most of the men that came in, we assumed honestly were probably married.
Yeah. I kind of
There
would
were very
assume
few
so
bachelors.
too.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. And some of those married guys spent the most money at bachelor parties and holiday parties, just like the cops. Like we had a Christmas party yearly for cops.
Really?
We had every time one of them got married, we did their bachelor party.
That is so crazy.
Dude, oh my God. Like, imagine if I had a bachelor party before we got married. Would you allow a bunch of sex workers?
Nope. I'd say bye-bye.
Jesus.
There were usually no women at these, to be fair, but we knew they were cops. Like, they got a 20% discount, and usually so it was always me, because I took the payment at the party. We had a driver bouncer who was 6'10",
Wow.
huge Viking-looking dude. And then usually 2 to 4 girls. And you could pay for private dances, after the main show. And it was damn near every cop at those parties.
Jeez.
That's crazy.
Did you ever get any church officials, like pastors? Any,
I know one in
priest?
particular. His church actually backed up to the spa.
Jesus Christ.
It was on the same block, but it had been grandfathered in. The law making strip clubs and whatnot have to be so far away. It was already there. So it literally, you walk out the back door of the place and you're looking at the back door of the church.
It's kind of perfect, though, because, your place opens at 11 a.m. and church gets out around that time. So you just
wait a couple hours and walk on over.
Then go back, repent for your sins, and
yeah.
I know John asked you what was the scariest thing. What was, in general, the craziest thing or most outrageous thing you've ever experienced or observed?
The fact that, oh God, the hot tub in there was only cleaned
Ew.
Every 2 weeks.
There's a hot tub in there?
Oh, God.
Yep. Yep.
All right.
Yep.
So
I would
now,
not go in it.
yeah, lesson learned. If you ever get the chance, do not choose the hot tub room.
Who had to clean all the rooms? And what's what's the worst thing you found in one of these rooms? Were you cleaning them?
Cell phones, rings. The girls technically had to spray down the tables, wipe them down, and change sheets after every job.
And you think they did that? Or?
Oh, I made sure.
Okay.
It was one of the few things you do or you get out.
Oh, wow. Okay. Good. Well,
but if you go in there with a black light, I cannot say that the walls are clean.
Walls.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Was anyone there any good at massages?
No.
I thought if you had a massage parlor,
it was a massage, John.
I know, I get it, but I mean, if
John would go
massage.
Actually asking for hey, my back's kind of effed up.
I mean, they could, but usually it didn't take long before the guy's okay, I'm ready to flip.
So my aunt and her came to visit and told us a story. Her husband, this is someone twice removed, whatever. They were in the area, and her husband was saying how he had gone for a run or something like that, was in a place that he didn't know, and went to a massage shop. Just I don't know what it was, but he had gotten just a regular back massage, and at the end the girl was like,
"You want a happy ending?"
Yes. Asked him, and he was like, "No, I'm good, thanks."
Is that what they call it there too? Happy endings?
Yep, happy ending. Do you want a massage with a happy ending? Great.
So in that case, you could have gotten a back massage, but yeah.
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 What if I say I do want a happy ending, but I want you to be frowning the entire time?
$50. $50 tip, and I'll do it.
Done.
Jesus
That's
Christ.
how it goes. Anything beyond the regular massage was money.
Cost you something.
And the girl could set her rate because we did not ask what the tip was for.
Shram had asked if you had female clients. I think you already answered that, but
Very few, and they were mostly all out calls.
Well,
like,
what would they request?
Maybe 2 in like 4 years
Wow.
actually came in wanting a happy ending.
what would they request? Like the females,
Same thing.
like scissoring.
They would no. An out call is straight up not a massage.
Yeah.
An out call is all of it. So whoever I would send, I would have to make sure was okay. Was bi and into girls too. Otherwise, waste.
Yeah. Did you ever have any Johns that were not happy with their service and were demanding their money back?
Very few. Once again, maybe only once or twice. The problem was even if they charged back on the credit card, we'd already taken money out.
Yeah.
Like I processed credit card statements every fucking day before I left.
How much was going through there?
Oh my God.
Like 10,000 a day or something?
Not that much. On like slower days, probably closer to 4.
Wow.
But
Jeez.
on weekends, if you remember, I only got 20% for being the madam. And I came home that day with, I think it was like 1,200.
So yeah, you're breaking 10,000 on that.
Yeah.
Lauren asked, what about couples massages?
Oh yeah, and that was just we didn't do straight up double. It wasn't 200 each. It would be like 300 for the hour instead.
Interesting.
And yeah, I mean, that was easy peasy.
So this contract that you made him sign
Contract.
that said it's like one of those things where it's like, oh, you'd have to tell me if you're a cop, right?
Yeah, entrapment.
Is that even does that even hold up in any court?
I mean,
no one ever did it, right?
Yeah,
no one ever
did it.
Shit.
I think one guy came through and he's like, well, I'm a cop. And we're like, from where? And he was like, blah, blah, blah. Oh, you're good. Go ahead.
Interesting. Wow. That is so crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. So were the other girls jealous of you since you were so you were basically their boss?
Oh, yeah. I was definitely their boss.
Did they have to call you madam?
I had a boss above me. Oh, no. I had my own name, which I won't put out there. But it was based on the color of my hair when I first started working. But we had all the stereotypical, handy,
Angel.
And yes, like anything you can think of that might be a stripper name, we had it.
Stormy Daniels.
No, that would have made a lot more money though.
Oh,
Did she work in Arkansas though?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I think that's where she was.
We're all about to learn a heck of a lot more about Stormy Daniels.
I had
in the
to
next,
drive quite a while from my place of work to get home, and I had to drive past Bill Clinton's parents' house.
Oh my!
And I only knew it because there's a big plaque in the lawn outside.
Wow!
Did it say
That's
Bill Clinton's
why-
parents?
Basically, yeah, and that's why when y'all were talking about the corruption in Saline County and whatnot with the boys on the track, that's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, yeah, they drop drugs on the tracks. I'm like, yeah, that makes
Sounds
sense.
about right.
So you think they actually did that? Like drop? I mean, I know they did that,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Plausible.
Yeah, they did. Absolutely plausible for the area.
Wow.
So meth was the thing in your
Oh, yeah.
place.
Easily manufactured. Lots of hillbilly hicks all around. Like that whole area is just filled with hillbilly hicks.
So when you wanted to get out of this industry, how did you go about doing so?
Oh, I lied.
Oh my god.
You're like, I was
No,
a boss
so
at a massage parlor. Like, what do you say?
Kind of. I ended up using the store, the stripper store. It was no longer in business, so it's not like they could check. But I definitely had to fib quite a bit.
Why did you want to get out?
I kind of hit that age where I wanted to get married, have a family, and like being in that type of business is really not conducive to that.
Did you ever get involved in the drugs?
I personally did not. I did drink a lot. Like Seagram 7 and Coke was my thing, like constant, and weed. But I never really went deep into the hard drugs. I had to literally help carry girls out who had gotten too fucked up to even work. Like, I had to take them out to their car and like lock them in it until they could sober up. It was rough.
This is a random one that just popped into my head. Did any of the girls have like a fairy tale in their head, like Pretty Woman? Did anyone like think that was going to happen?
I can't say for sure. I think I went into it kind of having that fairy tale idea. Because once I kind of found out what it was, I'm like, ooh, money. Money was all I could see. All I could think of, money.
That's what I'm thinking now. You're talking about this. I'm like, shit, am I too old for this?
John, there's always feet pics.
I can buy a Segway.
I know. I was like, hang on, hold up your feetsies.
Feet pics.
Put the feet down.
Someone's into it.
Yeah.
Someone's into it.
Yeah.
There's a foot for everybody. So you thought like maybe with all the money, maybe you'd marry someone rich and take you away.
Either that or I'd make enough money to move out on my own. Like, I mean, at that time and in that area, I could have bought probably a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom for like $120K.
Jeez.
Top. And it's still probably close to that in that area.
Yeah.
Do you still talk to any of the girls?
Yeah. In fact, I found out one of my older friends that I worked with a long time. She had to remind me that we worked together. Like, she is there right now. All these businesses, as far as I know, are still open and going strong.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Just thought of one and then it slipped. Oh, what do you tell people? Like, so is this something that you are kind of upfront about with people, you know, or is this like you got to be BFFs forever?
Yeah, you pretty much got to be my BFF. In fact, my long-term to this day BFF, she and I work together. But she had to keep it very, very, very quiet because John will appreciate this. She was active military. She was a combat engineer. She went to Kandahar like twice. I mean, she worked here in between being shipped out.
Wow.
And that's a big no-no in the military. She is also the one who got us out of any traffic tickets. One of her Johns was an attorney. And after she found out, anytime she or I would get a traffic ticket or she really liked speed.
She had the need for speed, you know.
She would literally basically just show up at his work, sit on his desk, legs wide open, ticket gone.
Damn, that's some power right there.
Yeah, no shit.
It was great. I mean, not great, but you know what I mean.
Shrim had asked, what was the grossest client experience?
Oh God, I can't pick one.
Maybe a few examples.
The stench. Oh my God. Or one guy, I would call this maybe the scariest. I'm not convinced he wasn't a serial killer. Like he tried to lock the girl in the hotel room, tie her up, and I had to get a hold. Like she somehow managed to text me.
Wow.
And she told me all about this. Like he put a ball gag in her mouth. He was literally trying to trap her in there. And I had to call the driver. He had to go bust open the door of the hotel room.
Jeez.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Did you ever find out who the John was? I wonder if that is oh my God.
Jesus.
But I felt really bad because I had set up that out call. Like that's part of what I did. I answered the phone. I took the location, the name, sent them out.
Did anyone ever get seriously harmed on a job?
Not that I know of.
That's pretty impressive, actually.
Didn't tell me.
Yeah.
Well, we always had the driver go with the girl and they were not allowed to leave. They had to like sit outside in their car while
the whole thing
were
was
happening. Yeah.
How much did the driver make?
The driver made 20% as well, which honestly kind of sucked for the girl because 20% of 200 goes to me. 20% of 200 went to him.
Yeah.
So she's only getting 60?
160.
Yeah.
Out calls were minimum 200.
That's crazy.
For an hour, usually.
Yeah, 1 hour.
And then what about the owner? Like, how did that work? If it was 200 200.
Oh God, I think there was like another 20% off the top.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Tip. Like they had to. It was kind of like when you work at a bar, you pay out a certain amount each night to work.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like $100 to work that night on weekends.
Gotcha,
And like
yeah,
50 during the week.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Did anyone ever?
No rent.
Yeah. Did anyone ever get an STD or pregnant from these encounters? Was that pretty common?
That I know of, but we had a big container of condoms. So if the girl thought there was going to be any more than a massage, she could take a few in with her.
But would she? Or what? I mean...
Oh, yeah. It was kind of one of the few requirements that we had.
Okay, gotcha.
You clean the room after, and if there's anything more then you take that too. And if
that was like a non-negotiable, right?
Yeah.
Was that a
Yes, 100%.
A guy can't pay more for that.
No.
Well, that's good. Like, safe sex. Good for that.
It's so crazy because like the whole thing's illegal, but you guys are like
all of it
doing. You're morally.
Well, I mean that would also ruin.
Illegal.
Yeah.
What's that?
Yeah.
And a massage is not illegal. And if a guy wants to tip the girl $500 on top of the massage, well,
yeah, but usually
I guess it was a good massage.
Massage therapy school is like 7 years though. You know what I'm saying?
It's not that long.
Nobody had to breathe.
Lauren asked, did any clients ever want something more with one of the girls? Did any of the clients ever want?
Like, what if a client wanted to choke her or something? Maybe.
Honestly, it depended on the girl. If
like she may have liked it
to allow that. Yeah, if she was willing to allow it, she had to charge for it.
Oh,
I don't know what the money she would bring me was for. I would log it so I could pay her out correctly at the end of the night.
I think Jacob helped clarify. Sorry. Did they want something more with one of the girls, like a relationship? Like, did any of the Johns try to pursue?
Oh God, we had bouncers dating girls. We had we had guys, because we had a couple of guys that they wouldn't come in, but I would call them if somebody called for a guy. So they dated girls, like they would literally fly through the girl until it was like, okay, bro, okay.
So some of the guys like just really wanted to date all of them.
Yeah. My friend that I talked about that's still working there, she was dating the 6'5", like huge guy that we had as bouncer.
Wow.
What about like a John that is like, oh my God, you had sex with me, will you go out with me? And became
if they did and I found out, they were instantly fired, gone, because that means you're doing this shit for free after you paid for it. That's not okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Did any of the girls have like husbands or boyfriends and they had no idea that they worked at this place? Like maybe the girl's like, yeah, I'm a librarian or something.
Why does every guy idolize a fucking librarian? Sexy librarian.
Mine didn't know for like a year.
Really?
Oh, really?
What do you think you did?
She was a librarian, of course.
He thought that I worked in the home goods part the whole time. So he didn't know I was like running the other part, but it kind of fell through and I told him the truth once he realized how much money I was bringing home.
Yeah.
I mean, that was kind of a dead giveaway. I was doing something more than, minimum wage, $5 an hour shit.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. Dang.
Nice. Do you ever want to go back and start that up again?
Only for the money, but not like actually going back. Like, I'm married, I have kids now, meh. And, I have a little bit too much around the middle.
Well, are you going to ever tell your kids?
I was just going to ask that. What will you tell them if you...
Probably nothing.
Secret life of mom.
Yeah, like my husband knows all of it.
What if
I told him all of it.
15 years they like listen to our podcast and it's like,
no,
you know
they
what?
won't. It's gonna be madam.
I know, but what if they're like, you know what? Does that not sound like mom to you?
I mean, maybe if they're like 25 and they're like, Mom, I might be like, what? I was wild.
When you first told your how was the story when you told your husband?
His fucking eyes lit up.
Oh, really?
He's never been so excited to hear.
Yes.
Like happy?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
He was
Jesus.
like, whoa, tell me everything.
Did you feel like you were just at that point in the relationship and you're like, all right, it's time to show him all the skeletons?
Well, he knew I was a stripper for a while. He didn't know about all the other businesses and whatnot I was helping run and all the ins and outs.
Nice.
So he was
He's been
excited.
like, show me your moves, babe. And that,
That's awesome. I love it. So do you have a way to reference this in public with him? Like, you have a code word when he's like, hey, babe, it sounds like... meh, meh.
More than anything, it's like, songs from back then will come on like, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
or,
God.
I'm in
yeah.
love with a stripper.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, my
and he'll look
God.
at me. Like,
Oh, my God. That's your song. I'm in love with
it
a stripper,
was.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Yes. I forgot that was like a hit song.
Yeah.
At that
It was
time.
Right during that time, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Amazing. So that's your theme song, but only the two of you know
Oh yeah. We
what
both
it's
give
really
each other
about.
That look like.
Oh my God. That's amazing.
Jesus.
That's awesome. I love it. Can anyone think of any other questions for the madam? Right, I think if I have any. This has been so interesting.
I know.
Feel so educated.
Yeah. I think it's always been my dream of mine to talk to a real life madam.
Really?
Kind of. Like, I mean, you always,
Seems like a
You
cool
hear
ass
about
job.
it, but you never talk to anybody who's
No,
actually
who
done it.
knows anybody that's actually done it? Apparently
Yeah.
now we do. Like the cool, kind of pretty cool, honestly.
Yeah.
It's badass. you
Yeah,
know?
it is.
Thank you.
A chapter in your life that, okay, how about what final thought? What's the biggest lesson you learned from your experiences?
Men are gross.
Oh my
Yes.
Oh my God.
That's pretty much it.
Have you lived
And save your money if
Yeah.
you do that.
Ooh.
Holy shit. The money that went through my hands was mind blowing.
That's what John says about his stripper days too.
I was not a
He
stripper.
should have saved his money.
He should have saved his
Yeah.
money.
Jacob wants to know how he can also become a madam.
Luck and hopefully
A
your
boob job.
dick is bigger than this.
Well, so if there's no guy madams, are there?
Well, the guy
Why not?
was the one that owned the whole thing.
Oh,
yeah,
so he
you
just
know?
needs to buy a Segway.
There you go. A segue.
That's it right there. That's it right there.
Anyone famous that came through? Any actors, musicians?
If they were super famous,
It would be outcalls.
yeah. And we didn't give a shit if they signed a fake name.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
Interesting. Jacob says, "Damn." I'm assuming the measurement didn't hold for him.
Hey, I'm right there with you.
Aren't they pimps? Lauren
Yeah.
said. Yeah, I guess it's true.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
But they don't work like.
There's a difference.
Yeah, 'cause
I
you
kept
work-
my girls protected,
Yeah.
at least in terms of
Location.
no. In terms of like men just walking up in there and you
Yeah.
know, going to town. Like we had that connection with the police department. So if something got too wild and crazy, we could alert somebody.
In a weird way, the corruption was super helpful to you guys.
Yeah.
Kinda, yeah. I mean, kept the girls out of jail, supplied them all with drugs. We knew when there were raids. Yeah.
So it was
But
like
if things went crazy, like you had backup, you know?
yeah.
it was kind of the police. It was kind of like the mafia. You know how you pay them for
They
protection.
really were. Yeah.
Yeah.
They got huge discounts on girls on parties. Yeah.
That's the way to
And
do
they
it,
got
man.
money by selling things to, you know, the big boss or the girls.
What was the biggest misconception, do you think, around this whole industry that's out there?
That they're all nasty, disgusting women. Like they're not. A lot of them had families. Some of them had kids.
Wow.
Like one, her husband would take her on alcohols. Like, but they were struggling to keep food on the the table. You know, like this was hillbilly backwoods bullshit in that area.
Wow, that's crazy. And I'm surprised to hear that some of them like were married and had, husbands and families and whatnot. And they clearly knew what was going on.
Yeah, he would be a driver.
Wow. Damn, that's gotta be hard.
I mean, if you're into that though, if you're like into the whole swinger lifestyle and whatnot.
True.
I mean, $1,200 in the night.
Right.
Or just say no to that.
That one chick in particular whose husband knew about it, I think one night she took home almost $5,000 on one weekend.
Damn, that's crazy. That is crazy. Especially when you think too, like even like today, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. In one day.
Oh my God.
And it was tax-free. I mean, technically, you were supposed to file taxes and say I made, $50K in cash, but nobody did.
Damn.
Would you just use like TurboTax for that or what? TurboTax.
Probably. Maybe H&R Block. Tax online.
You have a bunch of crumpled up $2 bills.
Dude, all ones. What are you talking about?
I know. I think a $2 bill is worth more than $2.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Damn.
Well, this was really fun.
Yes. I am so glad that you reached out to share a little bit of your story. It's fantastic.
Well, I did it more to corroborate the crazy corruption in the area, and it just kind of snowballed.
So it's still like that.
Considering, let's see, 4 of the 5 businesses are still open, I'd say so.
Wow.
Crazy.
That is so easy. But you're not anywhere near there now.
No, I'm not even in the same state.
Oh, there you go.
Good for you.
Are you West Coast or East Coast?
I'm over on the west.
West Coast, nice.
Fantastic.
Very nice.
Well, I can't think of anything else. This was so interesting.
Yeah. It was.
You learn something new every day.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm glad I could be here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last call in the chat. Anyone else have any questions?
Anyone have any
Comments?
outcalls to do?
I'm out of that business. I don't do it anymore. I can't facilitate.
That is crazy.
All right. Well, I guess we're good.
Well,
all right.
Thanks for another episode. Thanks everybody for joining us.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Miss Madam.
Miss Madam.
I feel like if I piss you off, you'll hit me with a baseball bat.
Yeah, now you know. She's coming after you.
Just the 10-inch double-edged dildo.
There you go.
Well, thank you so much for being here. And thank you for listening to our podcast, too. Jeez.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, I love it.
Oh, my God.
The only hoe I am now is for true crime.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. Nice.
All right, everyone. Well, everyone have a great rest of your evening, and we will be back tomorrow for headlines.
Yeah, and if you don't know, Madam, we do headlines every day, so you can check us out on our YouTube.
I'll try to pop in.
Sweet. All right.
What that's about.
Thank you so much again for being here. This is very interesting.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Kind of run this shit.